Retro emulation consoles. Are they worth it? What do you think? Hi, this is Nikki from Halo's Retro Gamers. Let's take a closer look. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry I have not published anything recently. I have been a little bit busy with my other YouTube channel. For those of you that do not know, I do have a second YouTube channel. Something completely different to this subject. It's paranormal investigations. So if you're into that sort of thing, please do head over to my other channel and take a look at that content. Halo's Spirit Pursuers. Anyway, that's all we'll say about that. So let's crack on with this review. So we're going to be looking at a couple of retro emulation consoles, and this is purely based on my opinion, nothing else. Okay, I have had one of these for a little while now, and I have been meaning to do a review on it. So this is the first one. Okay, this is how it came in this lovely little case. Now I'll undo it and we'll take a little look at what you get inside. So this one is called the arcade box. Got a little arcade machine there with boxing gloves on it. You get a on-off switch on the back of the console. Just try and get it in the light. That's there. That's your power, HDMI, LAN, and I think that is audio out. So that's what you get on the back, and you get on the side, you get two USB ports for your USB dongles. We'll look at the controllers in a minute. The SD card, which is supposedly loaded with 33,000 different types of retro games. That's pretty much it for the box itself. Now, you get HDMI cable in here. Particularly long one. So you get your HDMI cable. You get your power supply. There you go. I do beg your pardon, this is not the HDMI cable. This is from another one of my controllers. Let's just get rid of that. But you do get an HDMI cable with it. My bad. Anyway, two controllers. Now, these are meant to look like PS2 controllers. And they have the wireless USB dongle. You can see it there. I'll plug one in. And each controller takes two AAA batteries. Okay, so you can see I've been using this one. They're okay, I suppose, for cheap controllers, and you get a couple of handbooks. One on the actual gaming console itself, one for the controller. Not entirely sure why they think you need a handbook for the controller, but anyway. So that's the first one, the arcade box. Okay, now I purchased that from AliExpress a little while ago and it cost just over £40. They are on sale on Amazon, but they're a lot more money. And I weren't going to pay that price for it. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit further about that a little bit later along. So let's look at the next one. Now this one arrived today. Now I got this off eBay because these consoles really intrigue me. Okay, right, so let's just get this straight. You can download ROMs for games. Did I say that? You can get the software to run an emulation station, all those kind of things. So why are these being sold? So anyway, saw this on eBay. The listing, strangely enough, did not list the games that come with this console. So I took a punt and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to buy it anyway. Boasts of 4K. It's called a game box. You get 2 wireless controllers with it. Same as the arcade box. That's 4K as well. So what do we get in the box? Again, same sort of price I paid for this. Around about the £40 mark. So what do we get in the box? Can I get this thing open? Okay. This is your console. HDMI. One USB. Presumably that's for your controller or controllers. The micro SD is just there. And then you have micro USB. And that is how you power this unit. So, pop that to the side. You get 2 of these knockoff PS5 controllers, because that's what I'm guessing they're supposed to be looking like. They feel quite cheap, if I'm honest with you. But then, having said that, so do the knockoff PS3 controllers. They feel very cheap and very. But anyway, so slightly different controllers. You get 2 of those. Both of those controllers run off a single dongle. Okay, so that's there. You get an extension cable in here. I'll pull it out, might help. This is so if you can't plug this HDMI straight into your TV, you can extend it with this cable. A bit like you get with the Fire Sticks, they give you a bit of an extension. So you can have it hanging at the back of your TV. And this is your micro USB to USB, which powers it. So you would either need a plug for this or a USB port on your TV. Okay. Oh, and of course you get a wonderful manual that tells you nothing. My opinion, of course. Now, this particular console, game box, whatever you want to call it, apparently it has 9 emulators, 20,000 plus retro games on it. Now, I'm going to let you have a look at each console and let you make your own opinion of these particular machines. The arcade box I have been using for a little while now and having a bit of a play with it. Like I say, this one arrived today. I've had a bit of a play with it tonight and got a bit grumpy with it, if I'm honest with you. But I'll get them all set up and we'll take a look. So bear with. Okay, welcome back. So the first one I've just plugged in is the arcade box. So I'm going to turn on the on button in the back. I have one of the controllers plugged in via its wireless dongle. there is an on-off switch on this at the front, so I'm going to turn that on. And that should then flash green. Or a constant green to say it's connected to the box. Turn this down a bit, maybe a wee bit loud, I don't know. So you can see Emulate is loading up Emulation Station. Now, I do like the layout of this particular emulation console because it lists all the games by console type. So you've got Super Nintendo, SG-1000. I'm not going to say every single one, so because you can see it on the screen, there are loads and loads and loads and loads. Neo Geo, Nintendo, you know, all the usual consoles you can think of are probably on here. The only one that I haven't found on here is the Panasonic 3DO. Now, whether that's deliberate or not, I don't know. I have heard rumours that some of the games on the Panasonic 3DO do not run particularly well via emulation. I can't confirm that, obviously, because there's none on here. Atari ST, Lynx, Atari 800, 7800, 5200, 2600, Amstrad. This is where you can save your favourites. Lists all games. Now, I'm fairly certain Virtual Boy, that's a good one, the Vectrex. You don't very often see that on emulation consoles. Particularly good. Now, as I mentioned to you earlier, these controllers are okay, but they're not the most reliable. Now, I have been playing with this because apparently this console has Bluetooth on it. Let me just go back. You can see, I hate the buttons on this. Let's go back. Where are we? Controller settings. I have tried and failed miserably to set up a Bluetooth controller on this. I have tried Xbox. I have tried some little controllers, Bluetooth controllers that I have for my Switch. I have tried I bought another controller, a Trust one, which is Bluetooth wired. That's that cable that just flew across the room a moment ago that shouldn't have been in that box, but was. So Bluetooth, it's got Bluetooth, it's wired and USB. I couldn't get the USB to connect. It just, literally, this console went nuts whenever I plugged it in. Couldn't get the Bluetooth to work. Now, the controller does work because it connects to my phone and some other devices via Bluetooth. So I know the controller's okay. So my question is there something wrong with the setup of this console? I don't know. Having not set this up myself, I can't speak. But if anyone knows how to connect a Bluetooth controller to this, please drop me a comment and let me know. And let me know which controller you're using as well, because I would love to know, because these things are shockingly shite. I'm sorry, they are. They disconnect frequently. The only good thing really about this is you're familiar with the layout already. If you've owned PlayStations, you'll be familiar with them. And each controller gets its own independent wireless receiver when it wants to receive. Anyway, now you can set up the controllers via this menu. Not entirely sure if you can actually see that screen. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Better. But it's saying controller settings at the moment. You can see that controller settings. So I'm going to configure the controller. Okay, so this is the menu. As I was saying previously, I cannot find a way of connecting a controller via Bluetooth. Someone please tell me that this thing does have Bluetooth, and if it does, I'll be shocked because none of my controllers will connect. So, obviously the controllers you get with it, you can configure them independently, and you basically want to go to controller settings, configure a controller, and you hit OK, and just hold down a button. It reckons it is an Xbox 360 controller. Does that look like an Xbox 360 controller to you? No, it does not. It looks like a PlayStation 3 controller. Anyway, so let's configure this controller. So you just follow the on-screen prompts. Now, this is the bit that confused me because we need some light. A clearly is not to the east. That's B. But I'm going to follow what it's saying on the screen. So B is going to be A. A is going to be B. X is going to be Y, or Y is going to be X. And Y on the screen is actually X on the controller. So I've just followed the diagram, the illustration, and we'll leave it at that. So then you do your left shoulder, right shoulder, left trigger, right trigger, your thumbsticks, up, down, and then left, and then right, and then the same for the right one. And your hotkey. I'm going to have that hotkey. Okay. That's done, and I'll come out, back, using the B button, which is actually the A button on the controller. Confuse myself even more. So, let's take a look at some games. Let's go into Super Nintendo. I love a bit of Super Nintendo. Now, for those of you that are familiar with these retro games consoles that you can buy, you will find a lot of duplicates. There will be a lot of ROMs on here that do not work. There'll be a lot of ROMs in different languages as well, and I hate to say it, but it is the typical ROM dump marathon on these consoles. It's just, let's figure a way to get that figure higher, we'll duplicate. Anyway, for those that do work, I think they're pretty good. So F-Zero, let's take a look. I love this. Kinhank Games Retro. It's saying my Xbox 360 controller's connected. That's not strictly true. Let's be old Pinky. We love a bit of pink. Let's get a queenly. Thank you. You'll love a little bit of F-Zero. Yeah, get out of my way, purple. Ooh. Whoa, I mastered that. Anyway, moving on. Let me just get around this corner. And over the finish line now. Super, bye-bye. Anyway, so one of the things people have asked with this particular emulation console, how do you get out of the game? How do you go back to the main menu? Is there a way of doing it? Yes, there is. And originally it's been thought it's not possible, but it is. And I have found a way. So, see that on the screen? Press again to quit. I'm pressing start and select at the same time. Quits you out the game. Now, if I connected a different controller, wired, which would work because I can't get the Bluetooth to work, that function does not work. And as you saw in the controller configuration, there was nothing really around getting back to the menu. I don't think it's related to the hotkey because the hotkey is one key and I had to press 2 to get back to the main menu. So I don't know if that's a bit of a con to make you stick with these crappy controllers. I don't really know. I mean, they're not too bad if you're not too far away from the console, but if you're like me and you like to take this with you on the go, if you go and stay different places, it's a good little thing to have in your bag and use. And rather than get frustrated and lob a controller across, a room, I'd much rather enjoy playing some of these games and than get frustrated with the controllers. So I don't know, but this will give you a good idea. Let's see if we can find any duplicates. I'm sure there will be. F0X. Wow, look at that. On the 64. I know for sure there are. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's come out. Get out of it. Yes, I know. Don't connect me. I want to quit. Thank you. So again, this is just getting confused with the button layout. I don't know. A is B, B is A. So back. Okay. So on the Atari ST, for example, I know there are some duplicates on here because I've had a good little look. The other half made me look for a game, and that's called Disc. Anyway, there are a number of duplicates on here. There's one example that anyway, I think Disc is on here, the actual game. That's not a disc as in a disc you insert into a floppy drive. It's on there about 3 or 4 times, I believe, and it was a little bit frustrating because he wanted to play it and I had to try and figure out which one was going to run, and I think it turned out to be about the 3rd copy. See, look, chaos, chaos, chaos. How many? This is typical random chase on there. Look, this, but I guess they're getting the numbers up, you know. Anyway, I'm not going to look for disc. This gives you a good idea, look, of the duplication that they're really good at doing when they slap these consoles together. And it's only on a micro SD card, you know. Anyway, let's go back to the menu because I have actually turned some of the settings off on this. Did I do that? I think it was games. Yeah, enable bezels. I've turned them off, turn them on, go back, and I'll reboot. You'll see it's going to. Actually, let's just see if it's come back on. My favourite, you know it. Anyway, so let's go Donkey Kong. Let's see if the bezel's turned on, and you'll see what I mean because the screen will change. Rather than it filling the screen, you'll get a lovely little bezel around the outside. I think I'm going to have to reboot it to show that. Yeah, I'm going to have to reboot it to show you that. So let's just quickly show you that. Let's go. Quit. Restart. Yeah, do it. obviously it's an Android box, so it's not hard to put together if you know what you're doing. Okay, come on, load up. So just using this as an example, I'm not going to play the game, honestly. You can see I've got the side bezels on now, so I will just quickly show you how I did that. I do a bit of faffing about. There's more than 2 menus that you can go into to get to it, but what you actually need to do is go into the main settings there at the top and enable the RA bezels, and you'll get them come up on the side. I'm going to turn them off for now, but I was actually going into game settings, I think it was, and I was switching that on and it was defaulting off every time, which was a little bit annoying, but anyway, we got there in the end. So you can see pretty much what those side bezels will show you, and that will change for each console. I'll just switch them back on again so you can see that. I'll enable them again. So many things you can customize in this menu as well, and that's another thing I like about this particular console. So let's go Sega, let's boot up the game Sega, and again the side bezels once it's loaded should actually change. There you go, you've got the Sega down the side. There we go. So that gives you an idea. King Hank. That gives you an idea of what you can do, but like I say, customization in this, there's so many things you can make, preferences. I can't remember if it was game settings where it will boot up on a certain console type. Here we are, look, so when this boots up, the system will start on SNES. You can change that to whatever you like, basically. So yeah, so that's the arcade box. So I'll now get the game box set up and we'll take a closer look at that one. Okay, welcome back. We are now going to look at the game box. I apologise, my camera's trying to focus. I'm running this off a power bank. So it just shows you what low wattage it requires. So you don't get any fancy menu. It just boots straight into this, and I've turned the controller on with the home button. It's lit up to say it's connected. I have to say, these controllers feel really, really flimsy. Anyway, like the other ones, 2 AAA batteries in the back, connected via your USB dongle. Now, I was playing around with this earlier. There is, like I say, there's no like proper menu on this. Search. So you buy yourself an emulation console. What games are you expecting on it? Oh, let me just think. How about one of Sega's classics? Sonic. Shall we look for Sonic? We'll search, because this is the quickest way of finding any games, okay? Doesn't the light's bringing Sonic up to me? Okay, so let's just clear all that and go back. History, these are some of the ones I was attempting to play earlier. Class, not entirely sure what that means. The booklet you get with this doesn't actually explain anything. This is what frustrates me, it just doesn't. But I mean, he reckons it's got like 9 emulations on it. It's just like, well, why don't you categorize your menu? Because this This is awful. Absolutely awful. I don't know. I mean, there are some games on here that people will know. Bomberman. But if you're looking for something that's got like, you know, like all the classics, the SNES, the NES, the Vectrex, the Game Boy Pockets, the Segas, all those consoles, the Ataris, the Neo Geo, the main. I don't know. Don't buy this one, would be my answer. Do not buy this console. It's, I'd have to say, similar amount of money, £41 I think it was. And I'm really, really disappointed in this. I mean, just listening to it gives me a headache scrolling through these endless lists of games, and these controllers are so unresponsive. Trust me. I mean, they honestly, they may look nice, but everything on them just feels really cheap. This feels like it's about to fall off the side. I haven't yet. I mean, look, I've not pressed anything and it's doing it. Hello? How? No, stop. I mean, I've tried to see if there's any, like, you can get into the settings. Hey, come back. Come back. It's disappeared again. You can change the language. You can factory reset it and view local files. That's about it. But, I mean, what? I do not. Oh, yeah, you can favourite games. Look, woohoo, I'll put a star on that one. And look, again, you look at the names, right, of these games. How many? How many? How many Beirut do you need on here? Rondam. I mean, come on. Is this just to get your numbers up? You know, boast you know, oh, well, we look at all these thousands of games we got. It's because you've got multiple copies of them. And how do we know they all work? We don't at the end of the day. We just don't. But if you're going to sell something and advertise it as retro, I mean, put some titles on it people might be a little bit more familiar with, or how about actually advertise the game list? Gotta say, I will put my hands up. I took a complete and utter gamble on this. I was intrigued to see what was on it. I'd never seen one designed like that. They all come as Android boxes. This has not been advertised as an Android box. I will say that, just purely a retro games console. So, you know, I guess that's my own fault, but I was kind of hoping it was going to be laid out better, I suppose. Have better lists of games, that kind of thing. But disappointed. Disappointed is the word of the day. And do you know what? Let's try and go into a game. A actually is A on this controller. It's about the only bonus. Whoa. Okay. See, look, I'm pressing every button on here to start this game. And nothing. I've just come home again. I've had to press the home button to come back to the menu. So let's try again. It loads it, but I mean, I want to start the game. So you think pressing A or maybe start would do it? No? If you hear something in the background, sorry, it's my dog. He's let himself in the room. This one doesn't work. That's my only assumption. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. I can't get into the game. I've literally pressed every button on this controller and it's not letting me start the game. It's just, well, it's pants, isn't it, to be honest. I just disappointed. so disappointed with this. I mean, let's try another search. What should we search for? Mario. Should we try Mario? I mean, you'd think this search function would work. We'll test it out properly in a minute. So Mario. No Mario. Okay, thank you very much. So let's go. What did they have? Super Bomberman, didn't they? Supercharge. Let's search something else. Let's come out of this. I'll get out of it. Pac-Man. Let's search Pac-Man and see if that brings up Pac-Man. That's what I reckon. Okay, Pac-Man. Let's search Pac-Man. See, it's bringing up the Pac-Mans. So, Ms. Pac-Man, that's fine. So, if you're looking for a retro games console that is literally loaded with, you know, the consoles we all know and love and has a really straightforward menu, my personal recommendation, don't get this. Don't get the game box. It's completely frustrating, to be honest with you. Really frustrating. Having said that, let's just see what it says on the box. It says here's a reminder. This device has no built-in game program. Yeah, really, you could have fooled me. Users need to install by themselves. This is okay, themselves, I think they mean. Such as installing games. The copyright issue caused by the program has nothing to do with our company. Okay, so basically, we'll sell you a retro games consoles loaded with ROMs, multiple copies of, in different languages, loads that don't work as well, but we're not going to be held responsible. Anyway, that's my rant over. If you're looking for a console, honestly, retro games console with emulators on it, my overall opinion out of the two, I prefer the arcade box a million times, without a doubt. But if you know what you're doing with this sort of thing, my recommendation is get a Pi, get a Raspberry Pi, or build your own, whatever. You know, don't buy these things. How are they even allowed to sell them? I mean, this is just awful. Absolutely awful. So, there we have it, guys. 2 retro emulation consoles reviewed. And my opinions. Obviously, my opinions are my own. I don't expect you to have any, you know, you need to make your own judgment really on some of these. It is only 2 that I've reviewed, so there's not really much else that I can say. I have had a Raspberry Pi before as well, and I have to say that was brilliant. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm being cruel, maybe I'm comparing everything to the Raspberry Pi, but, you know, in my mind, I personally don't waste your money on these sort of things. If you're going to get one, go for the arcade box, but don't pay the full price on Amazon, seriously. I think they're like double the price on Amazon. I bought mine from AliExpress and it was half the price. Alright, you have to wait a little bit longer for it to come, but hey, you know. waiting makes it all better. So there we have it. Gamebox 4K Ultra HD, 2 wireless controllers. Not for me, I'm afraid, but there we are. Anyway, thanks for watching and thanks for listening to my rants and whines and whinges. And I hope to be back with another video soon. Perhaps I won't leave it so long this time. Like I say, if you are interested in paranormal, all things paranormal, check out my other YouTube channel, Hallows Spirit Pursuers. We go on regular investigations at lots of different locations, and I have to say they have been very, very interesting. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget, subscribe to this channel. I will try and post more. Honest, I will. I'll try. I'll do my hardest. But I'll catch you another time.